Bobby Broyles here, along with my co-host Tim McDonald for another episode of This Week in CA Football, presented by Geico. Conference play has just started, but there's already plenty up for grabs heading into Week 6. Saturday will be the first time this season with nothing but league games on the schedule. But first, what were your takeaways from Week 5, Tim?
We got to start in Delaware. How about the upset over William & Mary? I mean, I'm not going to say you kind of warned me about this one. I'll give you credit for that. The Blue Hens, Frank Rago kicks a little chip shot field goal, but he gets it done. 24-23 win. Who thought at the beginning of the season we'd be talking so much about Kareem Williams, a sophomore, and Thomas Jefferson, a redshirt freshman, the running backs for Delaware? Yep. They've been the storyline, and they got it done for Delaware again. Huge win for UD moving forward. We'll look at New Hampshire, bounce back again at home versus Elon, pick up a conference win. Dalton Crossan, 4 rushing touchdowns, all came in the first half. New Hampshire heads into a bye week now before facing William & Mary. How about Richmond? A lot of people forget Kyle Auletta. That was his first CA football game. He impressed at home. I saw that in person. Huge arm on that kid. A huge day for him. Set career highs with 4 touchdown passes. Then, of course, Villanova. We learned really tough news for the league and for FCS football. Think about the legacy and the career of John Robertson. We find out from Andy Talley in the conference call that he's done. His season is over. It's unfortunate. He went down to see the Dr. Andrews. We know the famous Dr. Andrews in Florida. Went to go see him, and they just said he's not going to be able to come back this season. Brian Westbrook, Brian Finneran, and John Robertson. You don't really have an order. Those are the 3 greatest players in Villanova football history. John Robertson, thank you for what you've done for CA football. I know he's still going to be on the sidelines. He's still going to be part of that Villanova team. Yep. It was a bye week for Nova, but again, couldn't come at a worse time. The news for the league.
Yep. Well, we've got 5 matchups set for Saturday with New Hampshire and Stony Brook enjoying bye weeks. Let's begin with the doubleheader on Comcast Sportsnet and CA.TV starting at noon as William & Mary heads up I-95 again to take on who you just talked about, the Villanova Wildcats coming off that bye week.
Who writes these scripts? Because I just love how it just flows right into, it just works out perfectly. I don't know. Whoever does that gets a raise around here.
Yeah.
But no, what an interesting matchup. You got Villanova feeling bad. We lost to Penn a couple weeks ago. Remember, that was almost 12 days ago to Penn. Bednarczyk, it's your time. It's the new era for Villanova football. The redshirt freshman lefty, he's going to get his chance to shine. Zach Bednarczyk, we've seen him play well against Delaware, struggled versus Penn. Villanova, I don't know what you were more surprised with, that they only scored 13 points or they gave up 24 points to Penn. Then you got William & Mary. On the other hand, another quick road game, the 4th road game of the season so far for the Tribe. This game has been close over the last couple of years. It's an even split over the last 4 games. The last 5 games, in fact, have been decided by 1 touchdown or less in the series between Villanova and William & Mary. It's really interesting because you got 2 head coaches, Andy Talley and Jimmy Laycock, 476 career wins. These guys have seen it all. They've been through it all. They've been through highs and lows. You see Talley right now, his team, what are they going to do? You see Laycock right now, his team, how are we going to respond? A tough loss on the road at Delaware. These head coaches right now, a lot of similarities, these teams, a lot of similarities. But I really think it's going to come down to the quarterback play. Bednarczyk, as we said, it's his turn to take over the reins, and Steve Kluwe for William & Mary. Whoever can make the more plays, I think that's going to be the huge key this week. Enormous game right now in early October for both teams.
How about the emergence of Devontae Deadman, making in this league?
What, he had a touchdown return last week, and he had a screen pass, 50-yard play. Just get him the ball every time.
Exactly. The second game of the doubleheader on CSN and CA.TV pits Towson against James Madison at 3. It's the first time in program history that the Dukes are off to a 5-0 start.
I thought there might be a little bit of a letdown last week for JMU at home versus Stony Brook, but did that not happen at all?
No, it did not.
Madison got out to a huge fast start. Again, we talked about the weapons. Talked about Cardin Johnson, Abdullah, the running backs, got it done in the first half, 28-7 at the half. Held on for the win in the second half, really didn't need to put up too many points. Coach Ambrose of Towson, talked about the bye week. Here's the Tigers coming off that Elon loss. They had an extra week to prepare. If there's any team this season right now to need an extra week to prepare for, it's probably JMU. Coach Ambrose said it was the best 2 deep he's seen since he's been a coach here. He also said it was the best bye week that his team's ever had. Again, it's interesting because we don't know the status of Darius Victor. Can Towson's offense really keep that running game and keep that pace up against JMU? You have to be able to sustain drives and keep up if JMU is going to stay on this roll, which it doesn't seem like anyone's slowing them down, especially Stony Brook's D last week. We saw a perfect example. Abdullah, 8 touchdowns, leads the FCS. Cardin Johnson, he's the backup? Okay, 6 touchdowns, 97 yards per game. Vad Lee, 5 touchdowns rushing, 118 yards per game. Again, pick your poison. Where do you want to stop JMU? If Towson can keep up with JMU, now it's going to be a different story. I think the defense has a chance this week to prove themselves. Towson rush offense, 3rd in CA football, 204 yards per game. JMU rush D, 3rd, 129.8 per game. Something's got to give there. But again, a tough game for JMU to go on the road. Towson, though, has had this extra week, which I think will help a slight bit.
At noon on Saturday, Rhode Island plays host to Delaware. The Blue Hens are coming off that big win over the Tribe that we spoke of, while Rhode looks to build off an improved performance against Brown.
You know, and I keep looking back to the run game of Delaware. 353 rush yards for Delaware last week. Again, held on to the ball for 41-plus minutes. First time since 1986 that Delaware's held on to the ball for 41-plus minutes. That's a long time.
Who needs to throw the ball?
You know, Coach Brock right now, he knows his game plan. He knows the run game is key to the success of the offense. Thomas Jefferson and Kareem Williams, two guys we talked about, 51 carries between them last week, over 200 yards. Again, each of them, the scary thing is, Bob, each of them, one guy can go for 170, one guy can go for 109. They keep on growing each week. If you can do that against William and Mary and only manage to throw for under 100 yards for the fourth straight game, you figure Rhode's got to have an idea of what Delaware wants to do.
Yes.
Now, if you're Rhode, I know it's a tough loss last week to a rival in Brown. You did battle well. We saw Harold Cooper and the impact that he can have. Over 300 yards of all-purpose. He had a kick return touchdown. He had 109 rushing yards and a touchdown. Rhode also had a fumble return for a touchdown. So again, you keep building off that, playing a little bit better. We did say last week if Rhode can get some momentum from that game, a loss or a win, they did. It seems to give them a little bit more confidence. But again, I think that rush offense for Delaware is just very tough. It is a little bit of help to have Rhode playing at home, but Delaware's rush attack right now is on fire.
Indeed, that offensive line for Delaware looked
They
very
should be
good.
eating free all week at the dining hall.
Exactly. They looked very good even 2 weeks ago against North Carolina.
If you don't need to pass the ball, Bob, it's scary.
At 3:30, Richmond looks for its second straight league win and stays home again this week against Elon. The Spiders have scored 40-plus points in their only 2 home games this season, Tim.
A lot of people are forgetting about Richmond. I don't know if it's because maybe they had a bye week early or the schedule set up strangely. I just don't know what it is. Diggs and Brown right now, the wide receivers, it's so dangerous. You saw it firsthand in person. Each had 2 touchdowns receiving last week. Kyle Lauletta last week, the quarterback for Richmond, a 27-yard touchdown pass. Okay, what does he do? He follows it up with a 75-yard touchdown pass. This is a potent Richmond offense, and we forget about Jacoby Green and Seth Fisher because they really haven't had to do a lot.
Yeah.
This is Richmond right now, like you said, playing well at home, 40-plus points the last 2 times. They get an Elon team that comes in struggling. Elon only scored 14 points last week at New Hampshire. Played both Daniel Thompson and Christensen, the 2 quarterbacks. Thompson did play well, threw over 200 yards, but he did throw 4 picks.
Yes, he did.
Elon as a team threw 5 picks. So again, I think the strength of the Spiders right now is just keep Lauletta hot. 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. Don't change anything, Danny Rocco. Just keep it moving. We saw what they did last week in the pouring rain against Maine. Could be tough but again, could be tough again for Elon this week, especially having to go back on the road.
Indeed, and that was the question mark coming into the season with Richmond, the quarterback position. We knew they had the weapons around him. It's almost like a Ferrari. Lauletta just didn't have to crash it, but he's actually making plays.
This is the midterm. Lauletta's passing right now.
Exactly. Indeed, I like that. And also at 3:30 on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel in New York, Maine squares off against Albany at Bob Ford Field. Both teams are hoping to turn things around after a really rough outing last weekend.
It was. Richmond averaged over 18 yards per completion. Think about that for a little bit. Against a Maine defense that we know is a quality defense, a Maine defense that we know prides itself in playing physical defense. Really tough game for Maine. Offensively, they just couldn't keep up with Richmond. On the other hand, you look at Albany, a disappointing performance, a tough. I know you got to go on the road. You played at Holy Cross in a non-conference game. 37-0. It was really closer than the score looked in the first half. A 42-yard pass play was given up. A 67-yard punt return was also given up. Think just got away from the second half. Only managed a little over 200 yards of offense. Again, you look at this game, 1-1 in CA football play, both these teams. Halt the brakes. There's no need for concern right now. It's still October. A win here to move to 2-1 for either squad is enormous moving forward. And again, 2 manageable foes for each other. They can both get it done.
You can listen to this game live on the Heritage Sports Radio Network on Sirius Channel 126. CAFootball.com has links to watch the live streams and live stats for the Week 6 games. Also, CA.TV will have a live simulcast of the doubleheader on CSN with William & Mary at Villanova and James Madison at Towson.
CA Football is our hashtag. That's our official hashtag. We're on Twitter at CA Football, Instagram at CA Football, even on Snapchat at CA Football, and of course on Facebook by going to facebook.com/CA Football.
Speaking of Twitter, I believe you just got that coffee mug with the hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag, baby.
Gotta
keep it going.
I like it. Our on-campus crew was right down the street this past Saturday visiting Richmond. You can check out the sights, sounds, and highlights from the Spiders contest versus Maine now on our Everyday is Saturday blog, cafootball.wordpress.com. And be sure to check our latest Going Deep feature tomorrow on cafootball.com.
That was exciting. We got in the weight room a little bit.
Oh, yeah, we did.
I saw you getting some pull-ups in on the side there.
That wasn't me.
Well, this week the crew heads north to Towson for continued coverage of On Campus. You can check in through social media throughout the trip for behind-the-scenes looks into that story. I can tell you personally that our Snapchat game in the last couple weeks has definitely improved a little bit.
I heard I got caught on the Snapchat.
You did, dancing a little bit. I'm going to catch you again this week.
And more exciting news, Tim. The Yak, it's back. The CA Football Yak podcast will be back tomorrow with a breakdown of non-conference play across the league and a deeper look ahead at Week 6. And pretty much that's a wrap for us for this episode. Thanks for tuning in to This Week in CA Football. Enjoy the game Saturday.